Oh boy, today we woke up to some news that made me super fed up. Henry Cavill is out as Superman. Permanently. Done. The cape is hung up now. It's official. It's clear as day. There's no uncertainty about it. Henry Cavill is done as Superman.
Tell me, did you subscribe? You will. And you'd better not forget to hit that like button as well. This video is not sponsored by Wayne Enterprises or LexCorp, so check out the Patreon link in the description below and consider making a monthly pledge. Men are still good.
Now here's the thing, had this news come just a few months earlier, say September time, it would have been a blow, it would have sucked, and I would have been annoyed about it, but I wouldn't be quite at the level of apathy that I am right now regarding DC's universe and the loss of Henry Cavill as Superman. But in late October, we got the release of Black Adam, a film that I thought was really bad. But a saving grace was promise of things to come, the after credits featuring the long-awaited return of Henry Cavill as Superman.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this, because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time. But I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
Welcome back, Superman.
This comes after 5 years, a half-decade of uncertainty as to what's even going on with Superman in the DC universe. Here we had him clear as day rocking up for the mid-credits of the Black Adam movie. The announcement that a Man of Steel 2 was in the works, that Henry Cavill would be returning to the role full-time. This was all under 2 months ago. And this morning, we wake up to the official announcement that Henry Cavill is not going forward as Superman.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
This news always would have sucked. This news was never not going to be a blow to me. I absolutely adored Henry Cavill in the role as Superman. I thought he was the quintessential Superman for the modern age. And no, I don't just think he was a great actor brought down by bad writing. No, I thought, you know, his Superman was great. Both Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder understood that Superman is an idealist entering a very far from ideal world, demonstrated the lengths he was willing to go to protect said world. And listen, before Man of Steel came out, I was skeptical. I saw those first trailers and thought, oh, they're giving Superman the Dark Knight treatment. And like, don't get me wrong, I love the Dark Knight, but what works for Batman isn't necessarily going to work for Superman. And not only was I pleasantly surprised, I ended up with one of my favorite on-screen iterations of any superhero. I consider Henry Cavill's Superman to be up there with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, in that these two are my two absolute favorite comic book movie adaptations of all time. So for the past 5 years, it's going to be, when are we going to see Superman again? Is Supergirl replacing Superman in the Flashpoint event? Are we losing Henry Cavill in the role? And we finally got an answer. We got an answer that Henry Cavill's back. Man of Steel 2 is happening. Yet under 2 months later, none of that is happening. Now, I know that there are behind-the-scenes reasons why this is happening, and I don't deny that there could be silver linings ahead for Superman and for the DC universe. I don't deny that some potentially good things could come from this, and I will get into that. But the here and now, let's just look at the history of lies and broken promises from the DC universe on the big screen. We as an audience were sold on Zack Snyder helming the DC universe. We were getting Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, and it would all go from there. But they quickly put a pin in that in 2017, when we were sold this more hard-hitting, darker DC universe that just completely fell apart when we got a completely different Justice League movie to the one that was advertised, with completely different versions of these characters than the ones we'd gotten to know over the course of the previous films. All team teases and allusions to Darkseid were completely nixed, but it's okay, we're getting Deathstroke and the Legion of Doom and a solo Batfleck movie where Batman faces off against Deathstroke. It never materialized.
Kevin Tsujihara and Sue Kroll and Toby Emmerich have said to me, we want you to be our Batman, and I believe him. And with Matt Reeves doing it, it's like I would be a fucking ape on the grounds for Matt Reeves. Never mind being Batman, it's incredible. So I'm really blown away and excited, and it's a great time in the DC universe. You're gonna see some stuff from Justice League that we're really, really proud of, and I think you'll see why I'm so excited to be Batman.
But don't worry, we'll be getting like Cyborg solo movies and he'll be appearing in the Flash movie. Nope, never happened. Where's that Mad Love Joker and Harley Quinn movie that we were promised? It's funny how we haven't canonically heard anything from Jared Leto's Joker since 2016. But alright, the future's looking bright. We got Leslie Grace as Batgirl. Cancelled. A Sasha Calais-led Supergirl movie. Cancelled. But the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change with Black Adam. Probably not. But don't worry, Henry Cavill's back as Superman. No, he's not. And this isn't just me commentating on rumors and stuff, this was all officially announced stuff. So it doesn't matter to me that there's a changing of the guard going on. It doesn't matter to me that there's new leadership in place. What matters to me right now is that this is how I'm being treated as a consumer of these products. This is how I, as an audience member, am being treated for investing my time into this franchise. And it's not just me. It's literally people that have stuck with it, who are ultimately being punished for even bothering. I do not care what the rhyme or reason is. I'm tired of following the carrot and getting the stick. And it is going to be such an uphill battle to get me interested in anything continuity-wise DC related going forward. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is going to be an uphill battle because I, as a fan, feel incredibly burned by the history of the DC Extended Universe so far. I mean, for Pete's sakes, we're approaching the 10-year anniversary of Man of Steel, and what do they have to show for it? This is going to feel like salt in the wound, right? Marvel Studios, their cinematic universe, once it had reached the 10-year mark, we were on Avengers Endgame. We're 10 years into the DC Extended Universe, and apparently we are only just now getting a concrete plan of the future going forward. And the first we are hearing of it is that the big Henry Cavill Superman return that we were advertised is not happening. It just feels scammy at this point. It feels like investing time into the DC universe is like a subscription to Emergency Awesome at this point. You just do it so you can get lied to. I get that corporations aren't your friend. Like Marvel Studios, at the end of the day, they haven't really let me down. I am slowly but surely losing interest in Phase 4, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like they've just completely failed to deliver on particular promises. And I guess you could point out certain mid-credits or after-credit scenes that ultimately didn't lead to much, but that's nowhere near as egregious as what is going on with the DCU. Let's talk about the rhyme and reason now, okay? Like, at the end of the day, I've got my feelings out there. How I feel about, like, the here and now, that's out there. Let's talk about, you know, what's going on and how it services the future of DC going forward. So, there's been a changing of the guard. The DC Universe is now under the leadership of James Gunn and Peter Safran. I don't really know anything about Peter Safran, so I can't comment, but what I can say is having an actual filmmaker, being James Gunn, as the head of the DC Universe seemed like really good news, because particularly like during the Snyder era, there was a severe mismanagement of the directors and the filmmakers of these projects. Just the fact that like Justice League 2017's theatrical release exists shows that, yeah, there was a horrendous mismanagement of the directors of these movies. Same goes for David Ayer with Suicide Squad 2016. Having James Gunn, an actual filmmaker, a man that understands the importance of allowing these directors to have their own creative visions for these movies, it's good news. And I'll also say this much, I really like James Gunn. I think The Suicide Squad 2021 and Peacemaker are some of the best things we've had in the DC Extended Universe in its, I guess you could say, wilderness years. Outside of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and the Snyder Cut, James Gunn's entries into the DC Extended Universe have been by far my favorites. And from what I understand, him and Peter Safran have been working very hard to create a brand new slate for the DC Universe going forward. This new version will treat Superman as a priority, and it will begin with a new Superman film, featuring a younger Superman than what Henry Cavill was, focusing more on him working as a reporter for the Daily Planet. Snyder's version was much more Kal-El focused, much more about the alien coming to this unwelcoming Earth. I think Gunn's version, from everything we're hearing, is going to be a little more Clark Kent focused. Which, okay, I could go either way on it. I just, I hope that doesn't mean we're going to get like 5 minutes of him suited up as Superman fighting people. I don't think that's going to happen. I think James Gunn is better than that, I would hope. And yeah, it does appear to be very much the decision of James Gunn and Peter Safran to move forward without Henry Cavill as Superman. That stings, man. I really like James Gunn, and to have this be his decision, that stings. Rare James Gunn L right there. Something that James Gunn has asserted on Twitter is that this isn't going to be an origin story, thank Christ, okay? Good move. This is the thing. We're doing something I don't want to do. We are rebooting Superman. Without Henry Cavill, we're going for a completely new version of the character and a completely clean slate. That's something I didn't want to do. It's in hands that I do like. That's the thing. We've got a filmmaker that I really like doing something that I really didn't want to happen. So I don't rule out that there could be a positive outcome to this. I'm happier with a Superman reboot being written by James Gunn than I would be with, say, J.J. Abrams, whose Superman reboot project that he was working on with Ta-Nehisi Coates, I don't know what's happening with that. I don't think it's been cancelled. But here's the thing, let's just take a look at Henry Cavill's statement that he posted onto Instagram. So he says this: I've just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those who have been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember, Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onwards and upwards. Right, so if I were Henry Cavill, after announcing the return, having to post this, I would feel mortified. I mean, just the fact that, you promised another go in the cape and you're not going to do that, I'd be mortified. Now, he says that he was urged by the studio back in October to announce his return to the role of Superman. So around the period of Black Adam's release, it was public knowledge that there would be a changeover in leadership for the DC Universe. So I question, who in their right mind, knowing that the leadership in the DC Universe will be changing and that these characters will be in flux once again, who in their right mind would release the film with that mid-credits in there? And I ask, knowing that there would be a change in leadership, who in their right mind would urge Henry Cavill to announce his grand return as Superman? And then, after all that's been set up, after all that's been advertised, who in their right mind would make the agreement with James Gunn and Peter Safran to just wipe that slate clean? The mishandling of this character is absolutely biblical. Here is what this sounds like, though. It sounds like they want to start from movie one again. Brand new universe, brand new universe-wide reboot, although it hasn't been explicitly stated. There's a lot of implication here, like in Henry Cavill's statement saying, they've got a universe to build, and just the fact that we're getting a new Superman. Like, it sounds like we're starting all over again from scratch. There are also other things that give that indication. There are rumors, and this is just rumor, There are rumors that Jason Momoa is out as Aquaman, but will be sticking around as Lobo. We also have the official news that Patty Jenkins is no longer working on Wonder Woman 3, and that the film, at least for now, is cancelled. And there is no kind of official news that Ben Affleck is permanently back as Batman. We know that he would be involved in the Aquaman sequel to a certain extent. Wouldn't that be funny if he didn't appear in that at all after being advertised? So you've ousted Superman, you don't really have a Batman, you don't really have much of a Wonder Woman anymore either, and rumor has it you don't have an Aquaman. I doubt Ezra Miller will be carrying on as the Flash after the Solo movie, given all of their antics going on. So it sounds like it might be a full universe-wide reboot, which would be better, I guess. Like, that would soften the blow a little bit, because at least then I could look forward to the creative new possibilities where we could go forward with this. But then what's happening regarding like a season 2 of Peacemaker? Will the Suicide Squad just go on to become like a separate out-of-universe franchise? Will the time travel multiverse stuff of The Flash ultimately culminate in the new DC Extended Universe? Like, this is the thing. Are we fully rebooting, or are we still picking and choosing what we do and don't want to reboot? And if that's the case, why is it always Superman that gets the shimp? And if we are rebooting, why are we leading with Henry Cavill's out as Superman rather than the DC Extended Universe is being rebooted, all characters are being recast, we're starting from the very beginning, excited about the creative prospects, blah blah blah? Why not that? Why begin with, oh yeah, we just completely false advertised the future of the DC Universe? Why lead with the negative? I don't get it. I really don't. And it's just, if we're losing Henry Cavill as Superman, but then keeping, say, Ezra Miller as the Flash, or we're keeping Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn and all that stuff, it's gonna look weird. Like, why? What is it that this studio has had against Henry Cavill all these years? And why does James Gunn not want Henry Cavill either? I don't get it. The man is literally perfect for the role. And it's like, if you were to ask me to choose, you know, oh, what would you rather have? A movie with a younger Superman kind of coming of age thing? Or would you rather continue on with Henry Cavill Superman? Continue with Henry Cavill Superman, please. For the love of God, please. The thing is, they could even soft reboot it. Literally, they could enter a new phase of the DC universe. You don't have to have origin stories, but have stories that are basically reintroductions to these characters with the same actors in the role, or you could switch a few out. I don't see why we can't keep Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't get it, alright? And maybe I'll get it later. Maybe once we get a first glimpse at his replacement, at the next Superman, maybe I'll get it. But right now, I don't. And I'm sorry, this whole thing of James Gunn and Peter Safran stepping in to take over leadership of the DC Universe, it's not a big victory. It's not. The fact that it took you this long to find a leader for your universe, it's not a victory. Warner Brothers should be ashamed. Ideal or not, they had leadership up until 2017 with Zack Snyder. Really wishing they'd just stuck with Zack Snyder. And you know what, I just really wish they'd finished the Snyderverse and then just gone into the Gunverse. That would have been okay. It would have been better. And you know what, it would have been better to just not have Superman in the after credits of Black Adam either. That way his final appearance could have been Zack Snyder's Justice League, as opposed to the absolute dumpster fire that was Black Adam. I'll be keeping an eye on new developments as they come, but if we're entering the newly rebooted DC Universe, it's began with a bombshell, and I'm feeling pretty burned by it. So yeah, that's a great way to win everyone's favor. There comes a point where you just gotta listen to the fans, you know? Like, at the end of the day, The Rock, whatever you think of him, he listened to the fans, he got Henry Cavill back in the door. Look at Spider-Man, for Pete's sake. Just yesterday, we had the trailer for Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel to the incredibly critically acclaimed Into the Spider-Verse, award-winning Into the Spider-Verse, fantastic movie. Not only did we have that, we've got 3 MCU Spider-Man movies, we've got the Insomniac universe, we've got Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield came back in Spider-Man No Way Home alongside some of their greatest rogues. Meanwhile, James Gunn and Peter Safran have just stuck Henry Cavill back on Netflix's doorstep. I'm all for creativity, but sometimes you just have to listen to the fans. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the awful Superman fan castings we're going to see on Twitter now going forward. All the people saying, oh, we should get him as Captain Britain. Yeah, imagine that. Going from Superman, the most important superhero of all time, to Captain Britain. Oh my god, I think I would just quit. I want Henry Cavill back, man. I say, you've made it to the end of the video! Congrats. No, but seriously, thanks a bunch for watching. And just now, I'll be extending a special thanks to the patrons in the $10 tier, who are Adam Myers, Ken K, Legendary Ray Ray, Mr. SP, Sergio, That Jordo, and Where's Arnold? What an amazing and generous bunch of people. Thank you guys so much for your support. And if you want to join the ranks of these amazing people right here, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. Guys, these are not the easiest times in the world financially, so every little bit you folks are donating is doing wonders. I really would love to be able to do YouTube as a proper fully fledged career someday. It might just be a pipe dream, but maybe you guys can prove some people wrong. But of course, if donations aren't your thing, then, well, it means plenty to me that you just hit that cute little subscribe button over there. I didn't mean hit that way. Well, that's me done for the day. Thanks a whole bunch for your support, and have a fantastic day. I'm gonna see you so soon.